is Wednesdays, guys. You know what time it is. We have John Maakaron, of course, the man behind the Detroit Lions on Sports Illustrated and the host of the Lone Wolves podcast, a.k.a. Detroit Sports Podcast, a.k.a. absolute legend in the town. And as always, this is brought to you guys by BetUS. Please welcome to the show, Mr. John Maakaron. John, what's going on, my man?
Fellas, good to see you. Props to Corey. Always enjoy when he comes. I always enjoy his perspective. And I saw him at Ford Field. And just to know what kind of guy I am, he's walking to the locker room after the Lions win. And I go up to him and I said, "Hey, man, what's it like to kind of watch a game and see a win?" And I just started laughing. And the look on his face was priceless. I said, "Corey, man, sorry. I just had to, man." The guy, bless his heart, covers the Pistons. What the hell, man? I need to buy that guy a drink. He's one of the best reporters in town. He does great work, and I'm really proud to get to know him over the last couple of years.
Yeah, Corey.
Guy covers the Pistons, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, John, it's rough. I mean, he covers the best team in the league in one sport, and the worst team in the league in another. I mean, it's hell of a dynamic, honestly. Not too many people can say that. But I'll ask you this, John. You have done a very good job, as always, of covering stories. But the Jameson Williams one, you really have stayed on top of. And you guys can check out the articles, of course, and I'll link it in the description. But your kind of takeaways, John, over the last couple of days, it's been a hectic last couple of days. And then we'll get into Lions, the football, actual football. But just to get your thoughts on Jameson, because I haven't really gotten a chance to talk to you about it. But what'd you make of the last couple of days, the reporting? How much is on the actual reporter? We had a criminal defense attorney that talked more about it. What's your take on this whole thing, John? What's going on, guys? I interrupted the doc to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, and that is BetUS. Right now, they have an exclusive offer for our Crunch Time Sports community, and that is 150% on your first deposit, 125% on your second and third deposit, up to $2,000. All you got to do is use the promo code YouTube150. And I went over to BetUS, and I checked out a line this week that I absolutely love for the Lions-Packers game. And, I mean, look at this. Plus 120. David Montgomery to have one touchdown in the Detroit Lions to win. I'm going to go ahead and put $100 on that to return $120. To me, that is going to hit. I mean, come on. David Montgomery scored in essentially every game this season, and the Lions are going to win this football game this weekend. But the point of this is to always bet responsibly. But if you're going to, head over to BetUS. Now let's get back to the video.
No doubt. It's just been a situation in which we're talking about Jameson Williams away from the field. Look, if it was going to happen, it kind of fell into the timing where he was suspended. So it's again, another distraction in terms of this is a focus that we're talking about. But I look at it from, first and foremost, Ross Jones in the world of investigative journalism is really good at what he does. He's also made life better for a lot of psychiatric patients. The reports that he did highlighting some mistreatments at some psychiatric facilities has made waves, and he has the courage to follow up on a lead. Now, I don't know if anybody else saw this, but that whole scenario with Jameson Williams and guns was crazy, and it kind of made me, feel bad about myself as a journalist. A couple weeks ago, I don't know if you guys saw it, someone online said, "Hey, Jameson got in trouble with a gun." And the Lions fan base was like, "You Minnesota Vikings clown, you ass. I can't believe you would release this. I can't believe you would talk about this." So I saw it online, but I immediately was looking at the person, didn't have a lot of followers, the overwhelming attention that it got negatively. I was like, it's nothing. But he was like, "No, someone told me this." So someone in the department tipped off someone, and this is going to get looked at. So like I said in the chat yesterday, anytime a athlete of Jameson Williams' profile has an interaction with the police, someone's going to know about it. And to me, I don't look at it from the perspective of blaming Ross Jones. He asked questions, and I don't think it's going to put others in a negative light, because when you see the story as it's laid out, he basically tells the timeline of what goes on in that video. So to me, the question to me is still unanswered. Did he get preferential treatment? We don't know that, because in the story, one officer says he should have been arrested. Another officer says, well, we got to call and figure this out and make the determination. So to me, it just kind of speaks to a law that needs to be tightened up so that those that decide to carry a gun, which Jameson Williams is doing legally, are able to understand the rules fully. Laws are not supposed to be interpretive, like the defense attorney said. It's supposed to be when a judge sees a case, he looks at the facts and says, okay, was a law broken? That's why the legal system in this country is crazy, because there's so much interpretation of laws. Good laws need to be followed. And just like the intro, your defense attorney said, by the letter of the law, something was not done right based on the technicality. Now, the officer maybe made a decision to say, I'm going to let this slide for some reason. So at this point, just based on where Ross looked at it, he said, I want to ask more questions. And that's what happened. And then the police department is going to investigate. So to me, I'm still open-minded to say, okay, what happened? How did this arrest take place? Was it done properly? Why was the police chief mad? Why did Jameson Williams feel the need to shout out that I play for the Lions? So to me, there's a lot more questions, and that's what investigative journalists do. They ask questions to lead to the truth. Eventually, we still don't know the truth as we speak. It's just not a good look for Jameson Williams. I don't think the punishment for something like this needs to be as severe as like what people say, the throwing the book at him. But if a law was broken, then something needs to happen. And I don't blame investigative journalists for highlighting something that happened. It was already out there. It was out there online. I don't know if you guys saw it. It was being debated online at a high clip. And to me, it's crazy because I never thought I'd get to the level where people would DM me, look at this, look at this, look at this. And it's every day. And some things I look at, some things I don't. I did not bother to call the Detroit police. I did not bother to even look at it. I assumed, Jameson's not going to be involved with guns. And I thought, and I blocked the guy that put that tweet out there. Well, in the end, 2 weeks later, it turned out to be true. So do I think that this is going to impact Jameson Williams with the Lions? It's his last chance. I don't think that clearly he's valued within the organization. They don't want to part ways with him because he's a talented receiver. So to me, I just look at it like Jameson Williams, hopefully, again, learns from this at the highest level to understand exactly the letter of the law with certain things. And for him, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do against the Texans. And that's the most important thing at this point in time for the Detroit Lions. And for him as a person, I do think that this has to be a wake-up call. I mean, when you had to report to your head coach something like this, I'm sure the people within that organization will work to continue to develop him as a young man. It's one of those deals where it happened. He'll own up to it. He'll face the accountability for whatever happened. I don't judge him for it. I look at it from the perspective of this is an individual that's young, trying to figure his way out through, being. There's no way to understand what it's like to be a 23-year-old millionaire and, trying to make your way through things. But, this is probably going to be the last straw in regards to you can't keep having these high-profile mistakes.
Yeah, Doc, I just want to kind of follow up on that because I did ask Corey a similar question. I just want to hear what your thoughts are. What do you think comes of this? Like, I know there's been articles today that are written about, if there's a third suspension come in or just kind of the way this works out within the Lions locker room. What are your thoughts on how the NFL will handle this and what comes of it?
Yeah, and I'm just reading the chat real fast. Guys, discretion was made, okay? But at the same token, when it's discovered that, hey, why wasn't Jameson Williams? There's a body cam footage. Someone is aware of it. Someone is going to ask. If it wasn't Ross Jones, someone was going to ask about how this arrest went down. So this is more of a police matter of like, hey, we still don't know. Was this followed? He was let go, and that's what happened. But at the same token, one officer in the article says there was merit for him to be arrested. You guys are just going to discount that? You're just going to go with the idea that, hey, I like the part where the other officer said he's free to go. So there's disagreements between the officers. So we'll see I want to see what the investigation is going to reveal. Now you were talking about, could he be suspended in the future?
Yeah, it was just more so a question on what your thoughts are on how this whole thing plays out. If there's
Yeah.
a suspension that's going to happen, or just kind of
Yep.
your thoughts on what may occur going forward.
Yeah, I echo what Corey said. I think it's going to take nothing's going to happen this year. I probably, based on when you see the fervor of which the support comes in. Look, I do think that when these answers, potentially, I know I talked to you about it a little bit. I think he faces a fine. I do think that they will find that, okay, you know what, this is something that potentially was a rule violation. And his lawyer will do a wonderful job. The individual that he's hired seems very bright, and he'll work his way to have nothing happened to him legally other than to write a nice check to the city of Detroit, and this will go away. And then it will not kick off a suspension. I don't think it's to that degree. I think it was I think the car was pulled over due to a speeding violation. And what we do got to find clear is this whole can someone's brother have the ability to claim another person's gun, because there seems to be a debate about that, and it's going back and forth regarding discretion and things like that. That rule needs to be tightened up so that we can I'm not a gun owner, so I don't I'm not going to have to worry about concealing a weapon. So but I do think that this kind of thing should allow more people to understand, hey, if you have a weapon, here are the rules you have to follow. And I do think that I don't think it's going to warrant anything significantly legally, just based on the individual that Jameson Williams hired. I don't think it's going to end up being an NFL suspension. I just think that, hey, it's going to be resolved in the courts, and he'll pay a fine. I don't see, maybe at worst probation, maybe along those lines, if it does go that way legally, but I don't see jail time. I don't see NFL suspensions because of it.
Yeah, Doc, obviously we got the trade deadline coming up. Should we be nervous that there hasn't been a deal done yet, or are you still expecting that there's a trade coming here soon?
Man, I'm excited, huh? So much talk about the trades. And real fast, I do want to say one thing. Like I said, trust your journalists. Trust the people that are giving you information. Don't when I say trust, when I say trust, read the information, parse through it, and think critically on these matters. Don't just assume, hey, this person, the person that did the research, it was very thorough. It was down to the detail. And I don't think that we should be in a society where someone can't put out information that they got. And if Ross Jones came to that conclusion, I think then people should, challenge it as well and look at it. And like we're doing here, talking about it, exploring it, giving different variety of opinions. You spoke to a defense attorney. Well, clearly his role has been in his life to get people off of police matters. There's another side too. Others have reported, prosecutors have said, well, there's certain things here that could happen. So at the same token, there's a lot of interesting, interpretations of the law. That's what happens in our court system every day. I'm curious to see I'm curious to see what the results of the investigation are going to see from the police side. Now we get to the part that people are excited about is, are the Detroit Lions going to make a move? And what's happened the last couple of years, it's so much like deja vu for me. Last year, other teams made moves. This year, the Ravens, Texans, and Chiefs all made moves. So everybody in town is just like, what's Brad doing? What's he got going on? When is he sitting on his hands? Everybody's like in a panic. And I'm shocked that Booner and all his friends' calm down messages are not working. I told you guys, you need to have 3 of them a day to try to help the fans online calm down. But if you're not going to message it, then everybody's going to get riled up. But I'm here to say, I do believe a trade is going to happen, but probably like last year, probably on Monday or Tuesday. I'm hoping it's not tomorrow. That's Halloween. I want to spend it with the kids. I'm hoping it's not the weekend. I'm hoping at least it would be November 1st, because my October work has been pretty much done in a great month. But I do think a move is going to be made clearly, guys. I mean, come on. The Lions are giving up more yards running. Their pass rush is non-existent. They clearly know that would upgrade the team. So professionally speaking, it's going to happen. I mean, it would be negligent not to. So that's what I said on the Lone Wolves podcast. But now, that's my professional opinion. That's the reality of it. But now the regular Joe Schmo drinking whiskey here on a Wednesday, I also put out a video, if you want to check it out, at Detroit Podcast. Brad Holmes stood in front of me last year and pounded the table after the NFC title game. And he was like, look at what I did. All of you thought Gibbs was a bad pick. Look at what happened. Look at this. Okay. You pounded the table. You wanted your credit. If you want credit from me, don't make a move. Roll with what you got. Let's see. Let it ride. You built this team. You built the foundation of a lot of these, and you developed these players. Let it ride. Let's see what happens. Can this football team? Now, my opinion is steadily changing the more I keep watching film. At first, I'd say, hell no, this football team is not winning a Super Bowl without a move. But the more you watch it, running game is solid. Jared Goff playing out of this world. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams is going to be motivated. Good tight end. Can you hold on defense? So to me, as the guy just sitting here shooting the breeze with my friends, fuck it, let it ride. Prove to the fans you're the number one team in the NFL. Don't make a move, and prove to the world you built the best team. Then when you pound the table, I'll stand up there and clap for you. Good job, Brad. You built the number one team. I'll clap too. But, this is just, shooting the shit. But I do think that this football team clearly is going to upgrade, because that defensive line, is not going to stack up in the postseason against teams that have good offensive lines, have good running games. Derrick Henry would rush for 150. Mahomes would have all day to throw. You gotta, I love it, Steve Lehman. Put it out there. Put your nuts on the table and don't go. Don't make a move. But no, in all seriousness, like I said, that's two different things. Professionally speaking, the right thing to do for the fan base of the Lions is to make a move. I think the fans would go apeshit if they didn't make a move. Oh my God, I think there'd be one person smiling. It'd be me. I'd just be like, hell yeah, he's a gambler. Let's go. He trusts his shit. He trusts what he did. Hell, look, I'll say this. If you really believe the Lions are the number one team, why make a move? You got the number one team. Roll with it. You got an offense. You got secondary.
You can always improve your chances.
If you got the number one team in the NFL and you truly are a fan of the Detroit Lions, roll with it. See, I'm getting closer to believing they could do it, but clearly my confidence would soar if they added a couple more pieces. I truly believe, and I said it before and I'll say it again, 2-3 players away, 2 or 3 good players away where we can be favorites maybe if they get to the Super Bowl.
John, and I could, we've been friends. All right. I'm starting to know you, John. You're being a little, this is troll, John. This is like dipping into the,
how am I trolling?
No, because
if you believe you built it, he's the one that opened the discussion. He banged the table after losing. He did it. So that's what I posted. I said
this one seems a little personal, John.
Listen, he could actually accomplish it. The people are saying the Chiefs are the worst version of an undefeated team they've ever seen. The Ravens just lost. Guys, the universe somehow or another. I was saying this to my friend too. The universe, for whatever reason, has maybe put some Lions luck out there in the football world. I mean, Diggs goes out for the year. Maybe the universe is conspiring that no matter what happens, the Lions could be the Super Bowl champs. I know it's crazy to think about, but wouldn't you look up? Okay. Assuming the Lions win the Super Bowl, wouldn't you respect Brad more if he didn't make a move and he rolled with this team? I think I'd respect him 50 times more if he won a Super Bowl with this roster, not adding at the deadline, and everybody else added. Man, that would be something you could legit clap your hands for and say, Brad, you proved us all wrong. The trade people, the ad people, the people that were nervous and tweeting all throughout the deadline. Listen, in the end, it doesn't matter. However, the Lions need to win this Super Bowl. We all want it. I'm just, like I said, not trolling. I'm saying, think about it. If the Lions win the Super Bowl without adding, it'd be the greatest accomplishment ever. It would truly be, we drafted a team and developed it and won a Super Bowl. It would be crazy to talk about.
But it would be okay, and that's business. That's like business story mind John speaking. But let me ask John, the opinionated man that I know. Do you, John, believe that this team without a move is capable?
No, fuck no. Fuck no.
Oh, come on, Don.
That's the John I know.
You have to add. No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that because I'm conditioned to not believe that. They've never won it before. I mean, I'm not a blind loyalist. I've never seen a team get to I've never seen the Lions in the Super Bowl. So it's hard for me. Again, I may be wrong, but I'm one of those people that also has the scars of sitting at Ford Field and watching. I've been scarred. I have PTSD. I've been scarred as a Lions fan. Now I cover them, and I'm so thankful to be able to. But I think and I don't think it's a big knock to think that, when you get to the Super Bowl, a lot of good things have to happen, especially when Patrick Mahomes on that stage just turns into this unbelievable individual that you got to take down. So I truly believe that the Lions are going to make that move because they know they have a big weakness. I don't think you can go into a Super Bowl and your rush defense, because clearly, guys, it's not a secret. If you watch film, the Titans and now further opponents are going to rush towards the edges because there's a clear weakness there, and you can't have, the deficiencies. They've given up the most rushing yards in the past 2 weeks. So I do think they're going to make a move. So it's not a knock. It's not a knock. I mean, it's just the way it is. So it's one of those things where I want to be in the best position possible to win a Super Bowl. I want 2 or 3 players. I want a player on offense. I want a player on defense. And I want to go into that Super Bowl with a great football team and a great chance to win it. It's that time. I think, aren't you guys sensing that the momentum is building, that this football team, the universe, I think is kind of saying, hey, Lions, it's your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Doc, I mean, with that, just kind of want to go back to this Sunday game. It was obviously versus the Titans. I'm sure you were there, and it was just like this was a non-factor of a game. What was your kind of viewpoint on them winning it? Like, it felt like they won a football game that we've never seen the Lions. We've seen a lot of weird losses, a lot of weird wins. This felt like it was such a one-off, putting up 50-plus points, essentially with your built on your special teams unit. Does that give you more confidence seeing what you saw Sunday? And what are your thoughts on that Tennessee Titans game kind of going forward, the way they won that game with the special teams unit and Dave Fitt?
Man, that was a great game to watch, wasn't it? Going into it, it was one of those deals where you're playing the Titans and they started off slow defensively. They just kind of got into the game a little bit slower, but then once the special teams put them in the prime position, you were good. It was just going to take a colossal collapse to lose to the Titans. They're god awful, and they sent the message to the team they're selling. The Lions just even won a game through special teams. That's how good they are. But you didn't need much against the Titans. I mean, they have Jeffrey Simmons. They have a couple good players. Ridley was getting the ball. Clearly, Rudolph took advantage of a couple of good drives. But once the Lions got rolling, they were clowning them. They were having their running back throw the football. They were taking advantage of some weaknesses in their defense, and Jahmyr Gibbs, the explosive run was amazing. And yeah, it's just weird to look at those offensive numbers and you go, man, how did the Lions win this game? It defies logic just based on how people watch football. But it's just one of those things where good football teams win, and they were able to go 6-1, which is just so great. It's like everybody's riding high watching the Detroit Lions, and Ben Johnson continues to just shine and really put on a master class of offensive play calling. And like I said, Amon-Ra St. Brown had less than 10 yards receiving. And the great part is Jahmyr Gibbs, taking advantage of 2 teams in their rush defense. And man, he when you see that speed, if you can get him more confidence and get him going more, my God, it's just going to be great to watch in the second half of the year.
Yeah, and Doc, last week, National Tight Ends Day, Sam Laporta, 6 catches, 48 yards, a touchdown. Should we kind of be expecting, obviously J-Mo's still going to be out this coming week, should we kind of be expecting more moving forward of the old Sam Laporta that we were seeing last year, him being more involved in the offense and whatnot?
Yeah, I like, seeing Sam Laporta and Brock Wright. Don't discredit what he's able to do. I think he's a great blocker and he embodies everything that's going on with this football team. Gritty and really a nice guy too to talk to in the locker room. Always smiling, always willing to talk. Sam Laporta, I just, he's just a pro. Just goes out there and does his job. If he has to block, he'll block. It was good to see him get involved a little bit more. Teams are finding, they're giving him attention. And that's really the mark of a good player now, will be him adapting to other teams and their defense adapting to what he's doing. And I do think that in different games, there'll be more opportunities for him. I think this one, you guys hit it right on the head. David Montgomery last year, I think it was you, Gentry. You said, yeah, you expect Montgomery to be the feature. I think that unfortunately you're putting St. Brown on there. Yeah, I do think he'll get his touches. But if you recall last year, Montgomery got 120 yards rushing on the road against the Packers. So I think it's going to be a combination of Montgomery and Gibbs this game, and a little bit, because too, you guys got to think about it. I know Goff will be ready, but what's the impact of that ankle going to be? How's that going to affect his rhythm and everything going on? So I think Amon-Ra will move the chains and do his thing, but I do think that the three guys that I would put on there would be Gibbs, Montgomery, and Sam Laporta.
Well, Doc, I'll ask you about the game now that we're kind of getting into it. I found out today, honestly, the weather conditions, I wasn't even sure, but the game itself, Packers in the Lions, at least on our list, we do our top 10 Tuesday, two best teams in the NFC right now with how they're playing. What do you expect out of this game? Maybe your thoughts on the matchup. You got a banged up Jordan Love, groin injury. Maybe it'll affect a little bit of his mobility. But what kind of problems you think for both sides the Lions will get and the Packers will get this upcoming game on Sunday? What's like your early thoughts on it?
Yeah, early thoughts are, I'm reading reports now that Jordan Love is kind of talking like he's going to play. I'm concerned about Blakeman in terms of how many flags he's going to throw on the Lions.
Yeah,
he's controversial. But outside of the officials, look, man, here's what you got to contain. Jaden Reed, man, the former Spartan dog, is doing his thing. And it's crazy because when Jordan Love was healthy, their connection was pretty strong. And Malik Willis, though, has kind of held his own, kind of, a player that is benefiting from at least being around much better players. But I do think that the crazy part about this game, in learning the stats and digging into the numbers, the Packers are just as opportunistic as the Lions are in terms of takeaways. They punch the ball out. They're opportunistic. They give the offense more chances. Dan Campbell said he believes this game is going to go down to the wire, and the team that blinks first and makes the critical mistake in the fourth quarter is going to lose. And I think this time the Packers blink, and you just look at all the opportunities the Lions have to get takeaways with Branch. I think he's going to try to rebound after not the best game against the Titans. Kirby Joseph is en route to competing and being probably the player that has the most interceptions this year. You realize Amik Robertson punching out the ball, the linebackers. I think the Lions defense kind of wants to rebound after a little bit of a shaky performance last week, and they get a couple of turnovers. I do think that clearly we all want Jordan Love to play. His interception rate is crazy. Like he's throwing into some windows that you're like, wait a minute. Hey, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. So if the Lions get 2 turnovers, they win the game and they come back 7-1. They get up for these games. And I kind of have that feel that it may, against the Packers, go the same way as last year. Lions win there, and maybe they come here and compete a little bit stronger indoors. But man, I can't wait to see this game. 4:25, I think, game. And it'll be a fun opportunity for the Lions. Man, 7-1 sounds good, doesn't it?
It sounds great, especially versus the Packers at Lambeau. To make it go 7-1 from that win would be huge. What are your thoughts too on the Terrion Arnold, Carlton Davis kind of duo there with the corner situation? Obviously, you have the probably the best safety duo and behind them. Going into a game like this versus a player like Jaden Reed, how do you think Dak and I guess what's like the talk in Allen Park with the way Terrion Arnold's been kind of improving and getting better? What have you seen out of him over the last few weeks?
Yeah, steady improvement. We spoke to the defensive backs coach, Jesse Townsend, and he said, look, Terrion Arnold is a competitor. He's somebody that wants to get better. He's hard on himself. So he's continuing to recognize plays and learn, techniques and continue to recognize patterns and calls. Just a tough game, man. You recognize that there's no rest. You're going to go up against top receivers every single week. And I think that the Lions, really, I look at it like your offense is that good. Ben Johnson is that good. They could literally carry the defense. That's how good that this offense has started to look. And they got it rolling without Jameson Williams. Think about this. If this offense gets Jameson Williams back against Houston, you keep this train rolling, man, you add one more pass rusher that's reliable. I'm just really, really happy with how the offense can potentially do moving forward. I'm confident in the offense. The defense just has to weather the storm and really do what they've been doing, forcing the turnovers, limiting the explosives. Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph are manning the back end. I think the secondary is benefiting from having the opportunity there where you have the athletic Terry Arnold and you have the wily vet in Carlton Davis, and they play off each other so well. So just continued growth. I do think he'll get picked on a little bit. I do think that that's clearly where teams are going to start looking first to throw zeros way. But I do think he'll, if he gives up an explosive, the next play he'll be there. And maybe this is the game he breaks through and gets an interception, joins the club, because I know desperately he wants it.
I call it every week, John. I'm going to keep calling it. It's got to happen eventually. I mean, it just does. Go ahead, Mike.
Sure. Doc, Jared Goff banged up a little bit. Didn't practice today because of an ankle. Any update on that or any worries heading into Sunday as far as that injury goes?
Yeah, no doubt. It's kind of fun. I'll say this. He did get a rest day. He said it's sore, but he told us that he's going to practice tomorrow. So he's a warrior. He'll be out there, no doubt about it. Barring any setbacks, I think Jared Goff will start. And here's the crazy part about the success. This is the part where I just want to gloat for the crazy 2 months that we've had. I always took offense personally when I would reach out for interviews and just get ignored. I just thought that was the most disrespectful thing you could do to someone. You could just tell me no, and I'd move on. When I first started the project, I'd reach out to guests, and they just would ignore me. I'd reach out for credential, and it was radio silence. Well, clearly, as I've raised the profile of the site, joining you guys, doing more and more reporting, doing more and more podcasts, more and more videos, over the last 4 weeks, companies are reaching out to me. And it's an amazing experience when Jared Goff's people message you and they're like, hey, something's going on Friday. Can you do something with us? And I said, what? And I said, yeah, here's what we're going to do. So it's in the can. It's breaking it to you guys. I can't tell you what it's about, but something's cool coming Friday, 9 a.m. Jared Goff will be featured on Lions on SI, and something cool will be part of it. And I never in a million years thought, because of the things I've said and how I've conducted myself, that corporations would want to work with me, but everything has been on the up and up. Reporters want to work with me and things like that. So there'll be a Jared Goff Q&A. And I asked some fun questions to the QB1. It'll show up Friday, and then there'll be something cool with it that goes with it. So it's in the hopper. It's getting cooked by my people. Jared Goff. Jared Goff will be featured on the Lions on SI, and you can see more and more. Part of my work every week is doing Q&As. Frank Ragnow, I got a great relationship with this great reporter, Justin Mello. He's a draft guru. He gets these interviews. Companies are blowing up my phone. Clearly, the success has done well, and I'm thankful for you guys. If I could bottle up these last 2 months forever, I would. I sit back, I look at the numbers, and I just say, what the hell is going on here? This is not supposed to happen to me. I'm a regular guy. I'm just like the chat. I actually enjoy sitting in the chat at 9:30 and just hacking it up with the guys that are in the chat. To do this and to be in the mix has been rewarding. For Jared Goff to answer and to be part of this, it was like I said, it was kind of a stamp for me. So I'm excited to share it with everybody. You guys know first, Friday, 9 a.m. ish, it'll pop up. And it's cool. And so, QB1, man, I got to eat my words. There's a chance he could be the reason the Lions win the Super Bowl. He's playing that well. I've been asking everybody, hey, tell me about Goff. What's been going on with him? And this stretch is crazy. Like this stretch that he's got going on with touchdown versus incompletions. He's playing at the level of the best quarterbacks that you can see, with reading the field, knowing what he's supposed to know. Man, like I said, got to eat my words. He got better in 3 years. I thought he was going to be like, that's what he is. He took it upon himself to get better. And I think a guy like Jared Goff, with the support he got from this city, this great city, the Jared Goff chants, I'm never sick of him. I think you should do him at Pistons games from the start to the finish.
We heard him. We heard him. We were there Saturday. We heard him.
I think he represents what this city's about. He's gritty. Like that guy takes a beating and he's there every single day to do the work. So I can't wait to have the opportunity to to hopefully cover him in the Super Bowl. Let's see. He deserves it. He deserves it at the highest level. And let's just hope that the offensive line protects him, because that first play from scrimmage, Taylor Decker, man, that was a little bit rough on Goff.
Yeah, Jared Goff, he does deserve to win a Super Bowl. The Lions deserve to win a Super Bowl, but you, John Maakaron, you deserve to cover the Lions in the Super Bowl. John Maakaron in New Orleans covering the Super Bowl, and we appreciate you and we love you. So you know what, SI, big supporters of SI, and this is what I want to ask you, because your guy Albert Breer, very good at his job, Tremendous. I saw Albert Breer go on a Chicago radio station and utter certain words, and we've had this conversation before with Ben Johnson. He's going to leave. We understand that he's a hot commodity. What did you make of Albert Breer saying that Ben Johnson, there was some interest in potentially going to Chicago if they were to fire Matt Eberflus last offseason? What do you make of the report and the legitimacy? Not that Albert Breer isn't legitimate, but your thoughts on that whole report and everything. Because Lions fans, I think that's worst case scenario. He goes and stays in the NFC North.
Yeah, look, Ben Johnson is picky. He wants the right scenario. So if you just look at it on the surface, Albert Breer, one of the best, very connected. If he texts Dan Campbell will reply. If I text Dan Campbell, I think the message is going to be, you have been blocked for the 99th time. So Albert Breer is the best at what he does. And to be able to be part of that engine is unbelievable, to have some information that he can collect and gather, and to partner with a great iconic entity in SI has just been also rewarding for me, that they would even consider listening to my words and allowing me to stay there for 6 years is unbelievable. If you just look at it on the surface, the Bears at that time could look appealing with the number 1 overall pick, a defense that's growing, assets that you say, okay, that could be a scenario in which he may like. I just think that now, if you're Ben Johnson, you had the opportunity to get additional funds. You got a raise. You're clearly comfortable. You're learning from Dan Campbell. I think you're extra picky. I think that, there's only 32 jobs. I think the Bears job would be appealing for anybody at that time, especially when you possess the number 1 pick and you could have the opportunity to shape the team the way you want. With what Ben Johnson's doing, I think you go bigger now. Now you look for the 49ers. You look for the Cowboys. You
Chiefs,
look for
post Andy Reid.
Maybe the Chiefs. I've said that before as well. I think you get your pick of the litter and you wait. I think that you saw how unfortunate it was for Robert Saleh. If you're in a situation where it's chaos and the general manager is giving you the option of, hey, we're going to bring in a 40-year-old quarterback and bring all his friends in, and you're Robert Saleh and your defense is top 10, and you just could never figure out the offense, Ben Johnson does not want to be in a position where he goes to like a Carolina. Doesn't want to rebuild. I think he's ready to go to a team that's, has a little bit more talent, a little bit more prestige, and a little bit more stability at the general manager spot. So I do think it would have intrigued him, but it never came open. So it was one of those deals where he looked at it and said, you know what? Getting a raise, 1 more year with this offense, working with Jared Goff, knowing that this offense was going to light it up. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams entering the next phase of his career. Those 2 running backs, you'd almost be crazy to leave it, because look what's happened. He's now become clearly the number 1 candidate out there, and he's the best. He's the best play caller. Him and Andy Reid, 1A, the best play callers in the NFL. He's going to have his pick of the litter, and he could probably take, he could do one of those things where, he could take a Ray Agnew and a Tanner Engstrand. He could take people from here and just start something there. That's how good the situation is going to be for Ben Johnson. That's how much respected he is across the league.
Hey, Doc, I know we were talking about Jared Goff and you have the thing with him this week. I just want to get your thoughts on the MVP conversation. I've been asking everyone about this just because this was, obviously something that we've talked about all off season long. What do you think, kind of in that sense of that? Obviously right now it's like Lamar, Josh Allen, and then Jared Goff's that third guy there. What are the chances, do you think, of him at the end of the season actually winning the award? What does he have to do? And what does he have to do? Obviously, he's part of probably the best offense in the NFL and one of the best offenses we've seen in years in the NFL. Do you think he can get the job done and go win MVP? And if so, what does he have to do that?
Let's go. I think the hype machine's starting to roll. There's nothing better than seeing Bill Belichick in the media. I'm praying that Bill Belichick doesn't return. If you don't take time, guys, watch his podcast, watch his media interviews. The football knowledge spitting out of his mouth is just amazing, talking about schemes and where he sees players. He said he puts Jared Goff on his podcast, Let's Go with Jim Gray, and is like, you guys are unstoppable. Like, I don't see teams being able to manage all of your weapons. I think it's starting. The hype train starting with that podcast, everything that he's been doing. Jared Goff is winning the MVP. I think that he's going to keep it rolling.
Wow.
When J-Mo returns, it's going to be a new man because I don't know. I'm not reporting it or anything, but a little bit odd. He only got targeted once that game prior to the suspension. I think he got punished. I think that was his wake-up call on the field. Like, hey, you're going to be doing these kind of things? All right, you're not part of the game plan. So I do think Jameis Williams is going to come back and just light up the NFL. And I think that Goff, St. Brown, Laporta, the running backs, I just see points galore. I think Goff is on the path to really gaining momentum. The numbers are crazy. Christian did a crazy numbers article just looking at historical perspective of how these last 5 games have been with his passing percentage. And just starting at the very base level, he's an accurate passer. The man knows where to put the football. And one thing that has been highlighted, I'm not sure where I heard it. I forget, and I hate to do that. But somebody said one of his strengths is his accuracy. But when he throws the football, he doesn't lead his receivers to get crunched. Like, he puts the football in a spot where they're able to kind of get any yards after the catch, but avoid the big disastrous hit. And that's so key for a lot of these players, is to be available, stay healthy, and not have your quarterback put a football in a spot that you're going to get lit up. So he's in his prime. This year, next year is the window. So the professional in me is give Jared Goff as many weapons as he deserves. Give this defense the best chance for this football player to get his Super Bowl. He deserves it more than anybody for what he's been through, for how he was discarded, for how he was viewed, to the work that he put in. He deserves the opportunity. He'll write his own ticket. He could be the quarterback for the next decade if he gets the Super Bowl this year. And I don't know. Like I said, this whiskey is really good. This Lions whiskey neat is not bad. On a Wednesday, it loosens you up real fast with 2 ounces. And you're just like, you know what? It has the feeling to me like the stars are aligned. Like the Lions have cleansed all their sins from the football gods. And they're just like, whoop, 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 to all the other teams. Guys, I'm going to say this too. I don't like being, and I am like feeling it from this, but I think the word is schadenfreude when you take joy in the discomfort of others. That fucking Bears Hail Mary was so fucking awesome. I keep rewatching it. I keep rewatching that in the end zone, like just dancing, doing his thing. And then he's the one that tips the football. What a clown show. That shit used to happen to Lions. That shit was amazing. Like, I kept watching that going, first of all, the play before was ridiculous, letting them get into that position. Then you don't pressure Daniels. Jaden Daniels just can just do his thing, dance, and then just to keep watching it, the picture of the 2 guys sitting in the middle of the field, the Bears players, I can't stop laughing at how fucking dumb the Bears are. And it was so fucking awesome to see it. I keep rewatching it. It was so amazing to see. And I don't care about the gamblers. I don't care. I cared about when I saw that, I just laughed my ass off. And to see the reaction videos live or staged or whatever they were, it was fucking great. F the Bears and F the Packers.
Yeah, John, it's just a very Bears-esque way to lose. And Caleb Williams, didn't have a great performance. Last 2 drives played better, but to lose like that, absolutely ugly. We appreciate you, John. I went in the chat there. I think we're pretty much good for today. You crushed as always, Mr. Maakaron. Good luck.
Can we ask the doc his score prediction for this week?
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And, real fast, Brad Holmes-Ora. I said I'm eating my words. I'm humble. Like, guys, first and foremost, too, with Goff. When he came here, I asked him directly, do you have a chip on your shoulder based on this situation? And SportsCenter picked up my question and said, oh, that guy's trying to be slick and diss the Lions. And his answer at that point was very telling. He's like, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Yes, it gives me a chip on my shoulder. This situation provides me an opportunity to write some things that have been difficult. And from then on, just go look back at Jared Goff's first presser with the media. Again, I told you his play last month has started to change my mind. I'd have to eat my words. I have said out loud, I don't think that he can carry a team to a Super Bowl. Hey, nothing wrong with an opinion. And if he's got a team around him to do it, that's the best way to do it, is to have a great team around him and to be able to navigate that. I would happily eat my words. It's not that big a deal, guys. I'm just a Detroit fan. I'll cheer just as loud as everybody. My cheers will be just as loud as anybody in the chat. I will be on Bourbon Street, making sure, all the professional work will be done, and I will take it all in because I suffered just like you did. My money went into the Lions. I was going through pictures of old tailgates behind LCA with my friends. I'm just as invested as everybody else. Just because I have a wrong opinion doesn't make me my smile will be just as big as everybody, and the content that will be created will be enjoyed by many. The Lions are going to win 30-27. They'll handle their business. Lions are the better coach team. They're better playing at this point in time. I do think they'll give up some chunk plays. I think it'll be toe-to-toe in the fourth quarter. But based on the way the Lions play, I do think that they will not blink before the Packers do. I think Love or Willis will make the critical mistake, and I think the Lions end up winning 7-1, and I can't wait for the matchup against the Texans because that's, in my mind, could be a Super Bowl preview. But without Diggs, again, that's just crazy that one of their top free agent additions is gone. And then, guys, again, and I have to predict it, I don't think it'll be a grand slam trade at the deadline. I can only go by that the request will be too big for a Max Crosby and a Myles Garrett, and I think that their teams will covet them, and I just think it'll be a Zadarius Smith or a Trey Hendrickson or maybe a Chase Young or maybe a defensive lineman from the Saints. But at the same token, whatever it is, whatever decision is made, a move will be made. I think that it'll be done meticulously. Brad Holmes is somebody that we can joke around and say, hey, let it ride. But at the same token, for what he's done for Lions fans, for me, to be able to cover a winning team, to be able to talk about, hey, make a move, not make a move. We are legit talking about Super Bowl. We're talking about this football team right now. How do they look compared to the Chiefs? How do they look compared to the Texans? It's the greatest thing ever. And like I said, I'm literally documenting, enjoying this whole season because it has that magical feel. And let's see what happens. It has a feel of a team that, hey, you get your players suspended, hurt, your best player goes down, you weather the storm. That's what Detroit's about. And guys, that's what Dan Campbell said. Eventually, you'll kick us, but the Lions will be the last team standing. And maybe it's 2024.
Doc, we got a question here. Two questions actually from the chat. First one, Derek asked, Doc, what's the latest on Taylor Decker? He's had issues the last 2 games.
Yeah, I invite you to check out Christian's film review. He looked at Taylor Decker's last 2 games. It's just, as you get older, these young defensive linemen, Arden Key, they've been beating him with speed. And look, he hasn't had his best season, but it's not as bad as people made it out to be. When you give up sacks, it's bad. But at the same token, he is a powerful left tackle. He's very trusted in that organization. And after the initial quarter, he got better in that game against the Titans. But what teams are doing is they're using speed to kind of get around these offensive linemen. And it's just tough, man. You got to give credit to Arden Key for that first play. And at times, look, Taylor Decker is getting a little bit older, and I don't think it's to the level where you replace him. But you definitely want to monitor his play over the next couple of weeks because protecting Goff is as important as possible. Maybe dealing with something that is preventing him from being 100%. But look, nobody's 100% at this point in time. I do think he's good enough. And definitely he stood up in front of the media and said that pass coverage, our pass blocking was not as good as it needs to be. I think he'll rebound.
And the next question, Doc, I didn't get your opinion. That gritty Spartan performance, a little scrappy after the game. What'd you make of the big game last Saturday?
Oh man. All right. Let me tell you something. That one hurt.
Here we go, Doc. Let's talk about it.
That one hurt. I ranted. It's a preview of Doc and Jock. I spent the first 8 minutes screaming into the microphone right from here. I recorded with Adam on Tuesday. I was screaming. I was so mad. First of all, I was devastated. I didn't go. I had a credential. I did not go. I preferred to watch wrestling. I think subconsciously I knew that Michigan had the better players, but I thought that Michigan State did not execute a game plan that was going to give them a chance to win. And for Jonathan Smith to come out in the following days to say, oh, I now understand the nature of this rivalry. The fuck are you talking about? This is the game. This is the game that Spartan fans get up for. The only game that Spartan fans get up for. You didn't give the I taped the game, and like a dumbass, I knew the results. I knew what happened. I was excited when it was the yardage was like 150-1 in the first quarter. Then I sat and watched that game, and I got fucking pissed. They played too high safety. They had no clue when Michigan ran the 2-quarterback set what to do, and they brought the lamest offensive game plan I think I've ever seen. You didn't take advantage of Nick Marsh. You didn't take advantage of the athleticism of Aiden Childs. You're playing fucking too high safety against Orji, who can't throw the fucking football. Jonathan Smith, do you know that it doesn't take a game to recognize that you needed to have your football team play the best that they should play against Michigan? You got curb stomped in the second half. You couldn't handle the momentum of Michigan, and then you get curb stomped after the game. They deserved it. That was embarrassing to Spartan fans. It was not. Look, losing to Michigan, it's going to happen. Michigan State in the last 16 years has won 10. Michigan has won 6. It's a true rivalry. Okay? But when you act like little brother and you go there and you bring a little brother game plan, you fucking pissed off the entire Spartan nation by the way in which you coach that football game. And I don't care if you are if you're new to a rivalry, you went from Oregon and Oregon State. You did not understand, Jonathan Smith, what this rivalry means to Spartan Nation and to what you now understand what it means. No, this is the game. You needed to bring your A+ game plan. You brought a C+ game plan, a C+ defensive game plan. You didn't take advantage of the weapons. You outran Michigan and lost the game. What are you doing? Simple game plan. An idiot like me knows. Who do you got to cover? You got to cover Mullings and Loveland. That's fucking it. That's all they got. That's all they fucking got is 2 guys. And Sharon Moore outcoached Jonathan Smith. You don't understand the passion of the rivalry.
Tough.
You don't understand the passion of the rivalry. You can't say that. You just needed to shut up and move on. You cannot say that you now understand how serious it is. It's serious. I was bummed from the time the final score ended until halftime of the Lions game. I was fucking bummed. And I was like, John, you knew they were going to lose. I knew they were going to lose, but not like that. Not like that. Play your best. Punch back. Stop acting like little brother when you go to Ann Arbor. Stop it. Act like you belong. You had the team to compete. I think once they took the first punch from Michigan in the second quarter, that was a wrap. But to me, understand this. That's the only fucking game Spartan fans care about. It's it. That is the only fucking game we care about. So it needs to be A+ performance, best game plan you can bring to the table. Try to throw the football more than 15 yards. Try to use the talent that you have. Why are you scared? Your season's over. You had nothing. You have to win this game. That's all you had to do. It's perform. Oh, great. In the fourth quarter, you get the unnecessary touchdown to make it feel like that. And then after the game, if you're going to fight, then fucking fight. Get up and start fighting. You know what I mean? If you're going to headbutt the guy and he headbutts back, I need some swinging. Like, Mullings curb stomp someone. Hey, go out. If you're going to go out with the blaze of glory, I don't need it to be after the whistle.
This is the best rant of all time.
So that's the level of passion I have for Michigan State, the love I have and the joy. You cheated me, joy. This was a chance you could have won the game. Michigan's going to get better. God,
Yeah.
This is what you guys fucking piss me off now. Barstool is going to bring $5 million. You see $5 million for this one guy? $5 million.
Oh, yeah. Hey, we're getting the quarterback, Doc.
We are going to get outspent. We are going to get cursed up. You had a free win in Ann Arbor. Michigan's horrible. Horrible. And this is what you brought us? The fuck out of here. Fuck, that was so embarrassing to watch. And I knew I shouldn't have watched it. I knew I shouldn't have started talking. I knew whoever asked that question, fuck you.
Oh, there you go. We love you, Doc.
Unbelievable rant, Doc. Wow.
That's why we love you, Doc. You crush as always, my friend. We appreciate your time as always. Please check out the Doc and all. I mean, the rants are one thing, but the man he's cooking it in a lot of different ways. All right, he did a great job today. We'll catch you next Wednesday, Doc. Good luck this weekend, my friend, and appreciate you as always.
Appreciate you, Doc.
Peace, brothers. Go Lions. Yes, I read all the books. Love Detroit sports. Thanks, everybody. Check out Friday. Jared Goff, Q&A.
Thank you guys for finishing the video. Don't forget this video is sponsored by BetUS. Hey, what's going on there? It's Jeff Iafrate. Appreciate you for finishing the video. You can check out one of the videos here suggested or show support by commenting, liking, and subscribing. And buy your merchandise, FisherCTSports.com.